Technological innovations are transforming the mining industry. Mining companies deal with challenges ranging from operations to safety standards, and the demand for more efficient mining strategies and safer environment increases yearly. However, individual technology cannot be used in silos and still relies on the human factor. On the sideline of the Mining Indaba 2025 in Cape Town, ENX Africa's Francisco Bodrand was joined by Dr. Callan Fisher, Senior Lecturer, ENX Africa Research Chair in Mining Robotics, Electrical and Electrical Engineering at Stellenbosch University, to dissect innovations, AI, and automation in the mining sector.
Essentially, gentlemen, we are here, of course, just to speak about innovation and AI and automation in the mining sector. And for us, Francisco, it's a continuation of a conversation that we have had prior. But of course, we are joined by a new voice whom I think does need an introduction, Dr. Callan Fisher, Senior Lecturer at Stellenbosch University, who also chairs your research into mining robotics, electrical and electronic engineering. And when I say I'm talking about NIX Africa. So maybe let's just start there in terms of exactly what you have commissioned Dr. Callan and his colleagues at Stellenbosch University to research for you.
Okay, so very important. We were talking also before about this global company that has this local approach, and we define internally that Stellenbosch University was probably the most prestigious when you talk about robotics engineering, and saying that we approached the university because we wanted to do projects on robotics and artificial intelligence that are projects that are basically, in summary, to create a safer space for underground. That's on a nutshell. We are doing a project that's doing by NIX Africa with some collaboration from Chile, that is to create a robotics solution for narrow reef environment. But that project is in our core, which is to blast, is to pump holes and to detonate. What we have defined with the Stellenbosch University Corporation is to do 4 particular projects that are going to not going to blast. They're not going to pump holes. They're not going to be detonators.
Sure.
But will definitely change the game in the mining industry, in the underground space, where we see most of the fatalities in the country.
Okay. I'm wondering how you're feeling about the fact that the scope of the work doesn't involve blasting, whether that's a good thing or not so good thing. But maybe you can talk to us about exactly what it is that you're doing and what your scope of work does involve.
So I think it's a very good thing because it focuses on my expertise. So I've been tasked with developing a fully autonomous vehicle for underground environments. So I need to go and fully map the area, so figure out where the robot can safely navigate. It needs to explore the area, create a nice detailed 3D map for inspection purposes, and then it also has to go close to the stope face and accurately detect all the features in the stope face. And while doing all of this, focus on safety factors. So can we detect loose rocks, fall of earth? Can we detect any changes in our environment that could be a safety factor as well? So ties nicely in the robotics side, and we're going to leverage a lot of artificial intelligence. So a lot of like robotic decision making, path planning, seeing where we need to explore and trying to harvest data and try and detect trends that normal sensors and normal people cannot detect.
Sure. Maybe just also give us a bit of a background in terms of this study, this solution that you're trying to solve for. When did it begin? And also maybe give us insights into, I mean, you do this alone? Do you have a team that's helping you? How's that going?
So we started talks in sort of late 2023. Project started in 2024, and it's a 3-year contract so far. So we 1 year into it. I hold the chair position, which is funded by NIX Africa, and so I'm in charge of my team, and I've got a bunch of master's students and PhD students working on this with different side projects to create one complete system that will work underground in this environment.
Sure. Francisco, is this industry standard essentially the approach that NIX has taken in consulting or collaborating with the university to come and solve for certain areas that you're looking to solve for, particularly when it does come to safety? Is this what your peers in the industry are also doing?
I really believe that we have very good competitors. Our players are very good, but when we talk about being the lead, taking the lead in terms of robotics, teleoperations, etc., NIX Group is by far taking that lead. So I think it's relevant to say that because, for example, the first teleoperated MMU working in Anglo-American in Los Bronces in Chile is working there and is from NIX. So I do believe that different players might associate with universities in Australia, etc., for projects. But first, we are, as I said, some steps ahead in terms of the developments that we have that are already working, are not only developments like this. And second is this approach that we have with the Stellenbosch University, I think is very unique because we're trying to solve our customers' pains. And I think that is what NIX is good at. We understand what the customer needs, where the customer has the pain, and we try to give a solution to that. So I think this is a very customer-centric approach. And the solution that's being working with the Stellenbosch University with Dr. Fisher, which I also call him Callen because we are friends at this stage, is that we are doing something different in that space. So, as I say, collaboration exists, but we are some steps over.
So when you talk about different, are you essentially saying that the solution that he's trying to solve for with his team currently doesn't exist in market?
No, it's 100% not in the market. So yeah, it's a new technology to do things that today you need to do manually. So, for example, to do an inspection, geological inspection, you will need someone to go and do it, and in a narrow reef space that is 70 centimeters high. So, and then he will realize there might be a fall of ground, and eventually that person can be killed. So, no, this is something we are moving 100% to autonomous, something that today is manual, and artificial intelligence is key because these projects include artificial intelligence now. Like, not in 10 years more, we will add artificial intelligence. They will be born, hopefully in 2 years from now, because it's 3 years, they will be born with that ability of artificial intelligence and continuous learning.
Okay.
Myself.
He says it's a 3-year timeline that you've been given.
Yes.
Are you on track?
I do believe so. We have scheduled a first underground test for September of this year.
All right.
So my team is actively doing some outside tests and getting ready to go underground in September and hopefully be able to start harvesting some data to improve some of our AI algorithms and train it for that environment that we're going to be in.
Maybe if we just take a step back and away from this particular study and just to speak about AI just broadly. I think quite often when we talk about artificial intelligence in any industry, we speak about it at headline level and we don't have enough sort of examples on the ground and practical examples of exactly how it's shaping an industry. So maybe we can just talk there, Francisco, in terms of AI right now that is currently being used in the mining industry for improving safety standards or any other part of the mining value chain. Practically, how is the innovation that we've seen broad level at AI, how is it unfolding in your sector?
So we have interesting project, not only projects, so I would say solutions that are innovative solutions, digital, Stellenbosch University project that has AI, but also I will give you just 3 examples. So one is the one that we're speaking, that is around the blasting, but is to create more safety, to create a safety environment on underground. Then we have a project, or we are developing a project that is a digitalization project that is an X-Bright. An X-Bright will collect all the data. So today we are able to collect lots of data from MMUs and also data underground. But the first stage will be for OpenCast, where all the data that we are collecting today will be used in order to optimize the drilling patterns. Basically is to say to the mine, this is the best way to drill, and this is the best product to use, and this is the best powder factor that you need to add in order to get the best fragmentation possible. And that is using artificial intelligence as well. So we are changing the game there because it's very important that all that technology, all that data, you use it. So we were collecting data. Now we will use it in order to be able, especially to be able to improve fragmentation. Remember, fragmentation has components like you don't want fines. In some cases, especially coal and manganese, it affects the price that you can sell the product. And in hard rock, you don't want big, rocks as an output of a fragmentation, because then you have to spend a lot of money in energy or electricity to crush that rocks. So the fragmentation. And the new one that we have, this is very, very new because it's very new in terms of just implemented in Chile. In Chile, we have the largest ammonium nitrate complex in the world. In that complex, we included artificial intelligence to be able to understand where the bottlenecks were being produced at different levels. Something that you know, with 40 years of experience producing ammonium nitrate, you can know. You know the processes. But now, using technology and artificial intelligence, that data you learn more from your own data. And we have the target, because we are starting this, is to increase the production on a 10%. So from 850,000 tons to almost 950,000 tons using technology and artificial intelligence, and without putting a single, additional pipeline.
So you're very passionate about this. I mean, you talk about it with a smile, and it comes across. And I suppose, just put differently, Dr. Callan, in terms of, he made a reference of Chile and some of the stuff that's going on there. I imagine that in your research, you're also drawing examples and insights from what is happening elsewhere in the world. So just broad picture, if we're talking about artificial intelligence and robotics and all the electronics that are going on in the mining industry right now, when you look at it from the context of Africa, and you compare it to maybe some of the other areas in which you are assessing or comparing, contrasting data, how do we stack up in terms of the innovations that are happening here?
I think we're doing quite all right. There's a lot of overlap between the different fields. So I'm currently working with forestry as well, so trying to do robotics there. So there's a lot of technology for AI in robotics, and a lot of the decision making can be used in many different industries as well. So it is a bit slow in Africa. I think most of the development is happening here in South Africa with UCT and Stellenbosch probably leading it as well. But yeah, it's a continuous thing that we're building on and we're starting to develop.
Okay, so overlaps, but certainly there are areas in which we can improve, and areas in which we are lagging slightly. Ultimately, the solution, I suppose, that we're talking about right now, when we talk about how it will have this transformative ability to improving safety standards in the mining industry, standards that need to be improved, because, I mean, we were having a conversation on a different platform about how it is important for every worker who puts on their boots and puts on their shirts and leaves their home to come home after a full day as well, safely and soundly back to their families. But with that said, what else will it change? And I suppose it's a direct question on jobs. How will the solution that you're trying to bring to market change the employment landscape in the mining industry? And will it be for the better or for the worse in terms of jobs?
I have my own theory.
Sure.
And
the Francisco theory.
This is Francisco theory,
okay.
and I know that it's very different from a theory of a very known person in the world.
Okay.
And is that what I believe is going to happen is that through time, basically, jobs will change. So today we have an MMU controller. You know, he drives the tracks, he pumps, and already we have people teleoperating those MMUs. Not a lot, but I gave you an example in Chile, and it's something that we can do in South Africa. Depends on the conditions and the risks.
Sorry, MMU?
MMU is the mobile mixing unit. It's the track that pumps the explosive in the drilling holes.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about the mine that is open cast. Okay, so today already happens that the driver of that truck is not anymore in the truck. Well, in the case of the Los Bronces Anglo-American mine in Chile, but those couple of trucks have 2 MMU controllers that are in a remote area, far away from the exposure of any safety issue. So, first of all, to do a teleoperation, you need to upskill that person. But with time, this will be autonomous. And that's what we were speaking before regarding the projects with the Stellenbosch University, is that we are not going to include AI in the future. We want to make them autonomous since the beginning. But anyway, as we move to autonomous, not only teleoperation, what happens is, first, efficiencies will be gained in the mine. So less risk, more efficiency, more productivity. That means increasing the GDP. If you increase the GDP and you're becoming a country that is going to grow more, then there's more access to education. And my view, as I said, is that the son or the grandson, but eventually the son of that MMU controller that was driving, that today is still operating, eventually his son, with all this potential increase of the condition of life and education in the country, will be working with the Calem, not working in the mine. They will be doing programming computers. So
Sure.
There will be lots of needs of brains to do all the changes that the world wants.
Sure.
So then you can say, well, have you done the math? No, this is my gut feeling, but I have a good instinct.
Okay. I'm not sure if it's the grandson, whether they'll still be working with you. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know.
Might be retiring.
Might be retiring then. But nonetheless, you do point to the fact that there will be a bit of a disruption in the aim or the transition to get to the point whereby you're saying that everyone wins. And I suppose let's just talk about that transition from your point of view. He was saying he hasn't done the math, it's just a feeling. You're a numbers man. And so as we look at the solution that you're bringing to market, and we look at the potential disruption or impact it could have to employability, what does that look like based on your calculations?
Well, first thing I would just want to mention is the beauty of this contract is that we are upskilling our students as well. So I have a team of master's students that are now becoming experts in AI with robotics, focusing on the mining industry. So we are upskilling our students to actually go and work and program robotics in this environment. But a nice short-term goal as well is if we deploy this robot, when we deploy this robot underground, in the beginning,
it has to be a when,
yes,
not a
when,
if.
yes, when, definitely.
You'd be very worried.
So when it is underground, it is going to be working with the miners.
Sure.
So it's going to do everything it can to improve the safety. So if there are any seismic activities, any area of concern, you send the robot in first. You do not want to send people into a hazardous environment. So the robot will be working alongside them to ensure their safety. So yes, there will be some change, but overall we are drastically trying to improve that environment. So those jobs become far safer for those miners.
So in the event there's a fall of ground, is the robot insured in this transaction?
Well, I'd rather the robot get crushed than a person.
Okay. And I asked that intently because I actually wanted to ask about cost. How much is this costing you?
Lots of money. No, I think it's I'm not going to disclose the figures, but
Sure.
I believe I gave an example. Again, I will give this example because we came from, we are joint venture with Sasol, right? So we took the decision with the EXCO member that's in charge, Johan, that is in charge of innovation. And we sat there, and he said to me, I went to understand all the universities that are good in this. He is ex-alumni from the University of Stellenbosch, so sometimes I also think my university is the best one in the world. But he came seriously with this program. And yes, it's an investment. We see it as an investment, not as a cost. But the decision was not, for me, was not so hard to make. And we laugh with Johan because he says that it took me 10 minutes. I said, you did you prepared very well the information. And the reason is that our team is so empowered in what they do that they can really take decisions, and they make my decision very easy. So I thought that if you have these kind of solutions that we were not sure which were the 4 projects, but at the moment we were speaking about 1, 2, 3, 4 projects. I said, if in 3 years we are able to show to the market that is working, it's paid. It's overpaid. So I'm also a person of numbers.
Right.
Anyway.
No, of course, and I don't think that anyone doubted that for a second, so I was just pulling your leg. But nonetheless, and the point I think clearly made regarding the investment and the return, not only to the bottom line, but I think as important, the return in terms of the savings of more lives potentially. You still got your work cut out. There's still time, and I think that we do look forward to seeing the end result and having a conversation when that does happen. But Francisco and Dr. Callan, thanks so much. We'll leave it there for now.